All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this Boudoir Facebook ad, check it out, diagnose it, see if we believe it has Boudoir low-click syndrome, aka BLCS, or not. All right, so Boudoir low-click syndrome, BLCS, is when the unique CTRL of our ad is under 6%. And this is a massive problem. More on that in a little bit. But unique CTRL, that is, how many women out of 100 are clicking anywhere on our ad? And we care about that because we know if they're clicking anywhere in our ad, that means they did not scroll on by. So this is also, how many women out of 100 did not simply just scroll on by the ad, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. And we care about this metric because if they don't scroll on by and they click somewhere on it, we know our ad has entered their brain. And we care about this because if our ad does enter their brain, their chance of them buying from us is greater than 0%. But if our ad does not enter their brain, their chance of buying from us is 0%. So this is the only way we can get them to buy. So under 6%, that means our ad is getting in, out of 100 women, our ad's getting into fewer than 6 out of 100 women's brains. So that's BLCS. And unique CTRL under 6% is not normal. It is actually the symptom of a deeper root cause. And that deeper root cause is the 3 pre-click mistakes. So we see our universe kind of taking shape here on the bottom. We also know that a Boudoir Facebook advertiser with BLCS is a Boudoir low-click advertiser. So BLCA with BLCS is caused by the 3 pre-click mistakes. Next, BLCS is treated with Boudoir pre-click optimization, aka Boudoir Pico. This treatment takes about a week. And with this treatment, what we do is we actually duplicate the original ad. It's a whole new campaign, whole new testing environment. You can keep the old ad, running, or keep it off, whatever. But we keep the original ad as it is, test and apply the Boudoir Pico treatment. Takes about a week. And then after, we just keep whichever ones, could keep both running, or, keep whichever one is giving us the best data. And I've never done Boudoir Pico where the ad performed worse, where it got into fewer women's brains out of 100 than when it had BLCS than the before. And then once treated with Boudoir Pico, we now have pre-click alignment. So we've solved the 3 pre-click mistakes. We got pre-click alignment. Our unique CTRL will then be above 6%. And when we achieve that, it activates Boudoir Brain Entry Boost in our Boudoir Facebook ads. And a Boudoir Facebook advertiser whose Boudoir Facebook ads have Boudoir Brain Entry Boost is a dominant Boudoir advertiser. So we got our whole universe here on the bottom. Boudoir low-click advertiser with Boudoir low-click syndrome caused by the 3 pre-click mistakes, then goes and gets the Boudoir Pico treatment. Takes about a week. And that solves the 3 pre-click mistakes, giving their Boudoir Facebook ads pre-click alignment, which makes them a dominant Boudoir advertiser with Boudoir Brain Entry Boost. Now, in my residency, I went out and hunted some Boudoir Facebook ads. Hunted down 2. Tested them. First one, unique CTRL, 4.3%. All right, so we got BLCS, Boudoir low-click syndrome here. And since our unique CTRL is below 6%, we know, okay, BLCS is present. So I duplicated it, treated it with Boudoir Pico, takes about a week. Got the unique CTRL up to 6.88%. So instead of, our ad only getting to 4 out of 100 women's brains, our ad's now getting into about 7 out of 100 women's brains. Awesome. So what we discovered is they were actually wasting 37% of their ad spend. So if they're spending 10 grand a month on Boudoir Facebook ads, they can actually now decrease their ad spend by $3,700 a month, save that money, so save that 40 grand in the first year, and get their ad into the same number of women's brains as, when they're spending 10 grand a month. So that's why we love this. It takes about a week, but tens, potentially even up to $100,000 of savings in literally the 12 months after implementation. All right, next, part of my residency, found another Boudoir Facebook ad, unique CTRL 1.39%. So, all right, unique CTRL is less than 6%. BLCS is present. And so duplicated that, ran it in parallel, treated it with Boudoir Pico, takes about a week, got the unique CTRL up to 9.13%. So instead of our ad getting into 1 out of 100 women's brains, or our ads getting into 9 out of 100 women's brains. And all this data I'm showing you, this is all cold audience. People have never seen us before. My metrics with this are better than basically everyone else's retargeting campaigns. People that have seen us before know about us. So BLCS true Boudoir Pico takes about a week. Yeah, I got 9.13%. All right, so we're above unique CTRL of 6%, Boudoir brain entry boost, dominant Boudoir advertiser, all that stuff. But what we discovered is they're wasting 84% of their ad spend. So if they're spending 10 grand a month on Boudoir Facebook ads, now we can decrease their ad spend by $8,400 a month, save that 100 grand in the first year, only run ad spend of $1,600 a month, and get their ad into the same number of women's brains as if they were running 10 grand a month with the previous Boudoir Facebook ad. So massive, massive, massive savings for literally just 1 week of treatment. Third, had a patient whose unique CTRL was 5%. So it's under 6%. We know BLCS is present. Boudoir low click syndrome is when unique CTRL is under 6%. So I did the same thing, duplicated, fixed the mistakes, treated it with Boudoir Pico, takes about a week. And we got the unique CTRL up to 15%. So instead of previous year ad getting 5 out of 100 women's brains, our Boudoir Facebook ads now getting into 15 out of 100 women's brains. Again, still the cold audience, still the people that have never seen us before, have no idea who we are. And these are, again, all women in our city. So we discovered we're wasting 67% of ad spend. Okay, so if he spent 10 grand a month on Boudoir Facebook ads, he can decrease his ad spend by $6,700 a month, save that money, pocket that money, and get his Boudoir Facebook ads in the same number of women's brains as if you spend 10 grand a month. And we care about this because if we can't get our Boudoir Facebook ad into women's brains, chance they'll buy from us is 0. So every time we cannot achieve that, we're wasting money. So now he can spend, what's that, $3,300 a month and get his ads into the same number of women's brains as if he was spending 10 grand a month. And, from my experience doing this, the average Boudoir Facebook ad with Boudoir low click syndrome is wasting about 50% of its ad spend. I mean, just look at these numbers, 37%, 84%, 67%. I mean, what's the average here? Somewhere between 50 to 60% being wasted. So, spending 10 grand a month on Boudoir Facebook ads can save probably, about 5K a month, 60K in the first year after simply 1 week of treatment. All right, so let's check this out, see if this Boudoir Facebook ad has Boudoir low click syndrome, aka BLCS, or if I believe it does. All right, first checking out the bottom. All right, yeah, we've got a Boudoir low click cluster here, or below creative cluster here. So, false belief that caused us to make this mistake is A, we didn't even know Boudoir or below creative cluster was a mistake to make, and B, everyone else's Boudoir Facebook ads don't, or they look like this, so everyone cannot be wrong, can they? Well, in every Boudoir Facebook ad I've seen, they do all have BLCS. That's because everyone's making the same mistakes as everyone else. And the consequence of this is gonna cause way more of our women to scroll by our ad than necessary. On average, it's like half the women that could B clicking in, R scrolling by. So on average, we could double this approximately. All right, next is the creative. All right, this is the looks like an ad mistake. So I'm looking at the photo here. The false belief that caused us to this mistake is A, we did not even know, looking like an ad was a mistake for our ad. But as you can see in the results I get from trading Boudoir Facebook ads with Boudoir Pico, it is always a mistake because I get my ads into, on average, twice as many women's brains for the same ad spend. So, and second reason, false belief that caused us to make this mistake is B, we believe an ad should look like an ad. Kind of newspapers that look like ads. When it's on a telephone pole as a flyer looks like an ad. But for social media advertising, this is incorrect. The consequence of this, way more people scrolling by than necessary. From the ads we already saw, if they're spending 10 grand a month, just from the last slide, could be 100 grand of savings by doing this Boudoir Pico treatment. All right, next, look at the see more headline, first 2 3/4 lines, Facebook newsfeed mobile. All right, want to win a Boudoir session. What if you never feel ready, but do it anyway? All right, this lack of context mistake. The false belief that caused us to make this mistake is A, we did not even know the lack of context mistake was a mistake to be making. And B, this is kind of how we've seen everyone else do their Boudoir Facebook ads. So everyone cannot all be wrong, can they? Well, in all the Boudoir Facebook ads I've checked and tested, they all have had BLCS, Boudoir low click syndrome. And consequence of this, again, way more women scrolling on by than necessary. Spending 10 grand a month on Boudoir Facebook ads. Average is probably 50% of, we're missing out on half the women, mostly. Kind of on average here. So 60 grand being wasted per year. So after looking at this, I believe the unique CTRL of this Boudoir Facebook ad is under 6%, which means I believe this Boudoir Facebook ad does have Boudoir low click syndrome. But easy fix with Boudoir Pico takes about a week. So if you're running Boudoir Facebook ads and you're spending more than 10 grand a month on Boudoir Facebook ads, then right now, on average, probably about 50% of that ad spend is being wasted with women that, all right, could be getting into their brand, but they're scrolling on by because we got these pre-click mistakes. So if you want your Boudoir Facebook ads to be treated with Boudoir Pico and potentially save, 60 grand in the next year, kind of, if you're spending 10 grand a month, 120K a year, about half that's being wasted at 60 grand in the next year. And, on average, so potentially save 60 grand the next year, then I am opening slots for new patients the last day of this month. So my DMs are closed right now. But I'm doing new patient intake the last day of this month. So DM me the last day of this month.